Well, I think you're wrong. First of all. Secondly, I thought you was waffling a little bit back there because when you end your soliloquy by pointing out how great Bill Belichick is and he's the greatest in the world, I mean, are you Mike Greenberg or Mike Kellerman? I mean, I got to ask that question right now, just messing with you here, Greeny. Here's the reality of the situation. Bill Belichick has won 74% of his games, and if we want, listen, I'm not one to take away anything from the greatness of Tom Brady. I understand it. I believe he deserves a boatload of credit. Obviously, he's the GOAT. All of that is true. But the flip side to it is that when you look at football, there are three phases. There's offense, there's defense, and there's special teams. I've never seen Tom Brady catch an interception. I've never seen him sack a quarterback. I've never seen him defend against the run. I've never seen him play special teams. And when you take all of those things into consideration, despite his greatness, you know, football, as we say, is the ultimate team sport. And you consider the multitude of responsibilities that comes with being a leader and the head coach of an NFL franchise. We can't ignore the greatness of Bill Belichick and just sit up there and say, excuse me, you know what, you only did this because of Tom Brady. Certainly it helped, but he also helped Tom Brady. Let's remember that. And over the weekend, Greeny, I was sitting at home, and I think it was on HBO. I was watching Belichick Saban, the art of coaching. I mean, I got to tell you something, man. If you want to be motivated, if you want to be educated, if you want to really go into the minds of a coach and really, really learn. It's must-see TV, man, to listen to these two guys talk about all the nuances that come with winning. I just think that when you watch something like that, as great of an appreciation as I have for Tom Brady and as much credit as I want to give him, I can't ignore the greatness of Bill Belichick because I understand more than ever before what elevated levels of responsibility comes with being the head coach as opposed to just the quarterback.
I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I would throw back that in his entire head coaching career without Tom Brady, Bill Belichick has had generally no success at all. So he may be a great motivator, and he is. He may be a great strategist, and he is. And obviously there are defense and special teams and everything else. But the reality is the reality. He won with Brady, and he's never won without him.
Well, let me tell you something right now. You're living evidence that you know what, that you're wrong. And let me tell you why. Okay. Greeny, I happen to think that you're not just good at what you do. You're absolutely outstanding. But I think the thing that's been outstanding about you is that as great as you were 20 years ago, you were even better 10 years ago. You were better than that 5 years ago, and you're even better now. And so when you look at Bill Belichick and you judge him on what he did prior to Tom Brady, are you telling me this man didn't grow? He didn't mature? He didn't evolve and elevate himself as a coach and as a leader in the National Football League? Are we really going to sit here and say that in the year 2020, because he had Tom Brady since 2001, all we have to go on is what he did prior to Tom Brady, and as a result, it doesn't count? We can't do that to that man. We all learn from our experiences. I'd like to believe we've gotten better, and I'd like to believe just like Tom Brady has elevated himself and the Patriots throughout the years, so has Bill Belichick, and Bill Belichick is a better man and a better coach and a better leader now than he was 20 years ago. I can't sit there and judge that man based on what he did before Tom Brady to say, excuse me, only Tom Brady is why you are what you are, and as a result, we get to ignore how he has grown and developed as well. I can't do that to him.
But I have to leave it there because you have to go, and I'll be with you for the beginning of First Take. But this is a conversation I'd like to continue because I think there is more to be had. Stephen A., thank you very much, and we will see him live in about 4 minutes and change for the start of First Take. Meanwhile, Dan and Marcus, you heard the essay. Quick thoughts from both of you. Dan, I'll give you the first crack. Go.
Yeah, Greeny, the down barrel was outstanding, and I completely disagree with Stephen A. And because he points out special teams and defense, and maybe he's forgotten that Bill Belichick also had 2 Hall of Fame kickers in Vinatieri and Gostkowski. And look at the defensive guys that he had. I mean, Revis, Hall of Famer. Ty Law, Hall of Famer. Richard Seymour, I don't know if he's a Hall of Famer, but he's probably in the conversation. And Rodney Harrison and Mike Vrabel and Teddy Bruschi. I mean, like, he's had some Hall of Fame players on the other side of the field as well. So, like, yes, there's 3 phases to football, but having Hall of Fame players around is a big reason why there's been such profound success in all 3 phases, Greeny.
Marcus.
Tom, look, the question we're getting at is who's more responsible for the winning? Is it the coach or the player? Obviously, coaches need good players. If you don't execute, I don't give a damn who the coach is. If you don't have a baller out there, I don't care who the coach is, you ain't going to win games. The players will always be more responsible for the winning. Now, coaches have to put them in a position to be successful and smart enough to put those guys in that same vein. And in football, we go at the quarterback because the win and loss record is on their resume as much as it is on the coach's resume. If Tom Brady does not execute over this 20-year period, we are not sitting here talking about Bill Belichick being the greatest coach ever. Maybe it's another quarterback, but if he doesn't execute, we are not talking about Bill Belichick being the greatest ever. If Kareem ain't at UCLA and Bill Walton, we ain't talking about John Wooden being the greatest ever. If Tim Duncan and David Robinson and Tony Parker ain't in San Antonio, we ain't talking about Pop arguably being the greatest ever. Phil Jackson, if Michael Jordan and Dennis Rodman and Scottie Pippen ain't there, we ain't talking about him being arguably the greatest ever. If Lombardi doesn't have Bart Starr, we ain't talking about the possibility of him being the greatest ever. If Walsh don't have Montana, we ain't talking about him being the possibility of the greatest ever. I don't give a damn who it is, G. If you don't have one of the greatest of all-time players in the conversation, you ain't gonna be in the conversation as the greatest coach of all time.
I agree.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.